Hi, Jose.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 210 Culture Podcast. Random clap sound.
Whoop whoop.
Yay.
Come on, sound guy. Let's go.
There
Yay.
it is.
So, like always, I'm G.
I'm Donna.
I'm Hector Tilke.
Duke.
And today we don't got the wolf on Wall Street. We got the wolf of SA here with us.
Wolf of SA. Brr, brr, brr.
Yes, Wolf of SA. Wolfie.
What the fuck was
So this is episode 9. Last time I checked.
Oh, Jesus.
So we're gonna knock out the bills real quick because I have the list right now. So we're gonna go ahead and start with, of course, the one and only Steve with TBC.
Brr, brr, brr.
I got the new Chingon shirt that I didn't wear today, but I'll wear it next week. Because I wore it yesterday for the Canelo fight because it was the only thing I had that was Mexican colors.
Wow.
So so might as well wear it, right? So get all your Chingon gear with him, and he has another event coming up soon. I forgot when. But Chingon Fest 4 is coming,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be big.
Big.
I'm not going to give away the details because I'm not allowed to. I didn't sign anything, but I just not going to say anything. But it's going to be fire. It's going to be big. Of course, Bar 321, the unofficial after party of the 210 Culture Podcast.
Yep.
So,
It show is.
and today is actually emo night or emo day.
No.
Yes.
They're going to be spinning some nice tunes.
Yes. So bring all your all black and your mascara and your
Where
boots.
are you?
Yes.
Because tonight will be the night that I will fall for
I
you.
forgot my wig. Brian and Nicole will be there.
Yes. And then, of course, United Auto, your new car. Hit them up. Get them. Let them know.
Carlos and Phil.
Let them know that we sent you so they can be like, who? And then, of course, Albert over at Military City Air Conditioning and Heating.
Brr, brr, brr.
The summer's starting to come out, so your AC is probably going to start breaking down. So have him come do your tune-ups, check it out. He always makes sure that if something needs to be replaced, he'll replace it instead of making you buy a whole new AC unit.
That's true. He's taking care of you.
So he does take care of you. And, of course, Eddie's Taco House, the official breakfast of the 210 Culture Podcast.
Yay.
Carne sandwich.
Carne guisada with cheese.
So make sure you
And
reach out
cheese
to them.
bacon.
And then now our private sponsors. Silent sponsors.
Rob
whatever.
Gonzalez. Rob Gonzalez, you're out there. I know you're watching. Share it. Share
And
it.
my homeless friend, Ephraim. Thank you.
Yes. So we normally
Thank you, friend.
so we normally start the shows with what we did over the weekend. So what did you do over the weekend?
Me over the weekend, it was basically just hanging out, partying harder than Clayton Perry. I didn't make it to Whataburger, even though I wanted to just go in my underwear. But
Nice.
I remember who taught me that. Top G, Kevin Wolf. Thank you for that. But yeah, it was just getting ready for the show, trying to figure out what content I wanted to bring,
Mhm.
what knowledge I wanted to bring to
Yeah.
people. But yeah, that's what I did this weekend. Was I did my studying.
Nice. That's good. What about you,
Me,
Duke?
after a long, hard working week, I unwound a little bit. Shout out to my bartender, BFF, Kirsten, at the VFW in Divine.
I'm sorry. Did you say BFF?
Yes.
Did you say Divine?
What the fuck?
Bartender.
What am I?
Friend forever. Your best friend forever.
Okay.
Clarification.
Good.
Saturday, watched the fight. That was boring as hell.
Yes.
But he won though.
The one before was
Well,
pretty good though.
Shit, he wouldn't have
What do
lost
you
either way. He's in
want?
Mexico. They would have killed people.
His grandma
Then Montezuma would have coming out of the ground. What do you mean he lost?
Party foul. You gotta chug it now.
Oh my
we're gonna have to delete that part.
goodness.
Thanks, Donna, for
We'll
interrupting
fix it
my
in
story.
post.
Sorry.
But pretty much excited about what we're going to talk about today. So I'm wrapping it up. Donna, what did you do?
So I went to Vegas Monday through Wednesday. It was pretty okay. It was pretty good.
Yeah, better.
And then Thursday I had a graduation shoot. Friday I thought I had an event, but it was actually yesterday. And so I had to do homework. It was a pretty boring ass weekend. And then yesterday I didn't do a goddamn thing because I was like, I ain't doing shit. I did shit all week.
I gave
and
her the
then
day off.
I watched fuck you. No, you didn't. You're not my boss. And then I watched Backlash. I watched WWE Backlash, and I watched Bad Bunny. What?
He's gonna break his neck.
I watched Bad Bunny,
And then he's gonna
beat
be
the shit
Broken
out
Bunny.
of Damian Priest, and he beat the shit out of him. Anyways, it was cool. I liked it.
Mommy, hit me up.
Yeah.
Titi, where you at?
It was Rhea Ripley against what is it?
Selena.
Selena,
was
which I
her-
thought was fucked up because
She has
like
a weird ass belly button.
Selena is from fucking Puerto Rico, and then that bitch lost against fucking Rhea Ripley, and I'm
Well,
like,
you can't have her win the title. Rhea just won it like the last pay-per-view. It'd be weird.
oh, well. Anyways, I was rooting for Rhea anyway, so it didn't matter.
And then what did I do?
Anyways, that's good. All right. Anyway,
Friday I went out because my cousin came from out of town. Her daughter has decided to come to play volleyball at Texas A&M. So it's nice because now her mom decided that she's gonna move with her daughter to San Antonio.
Oh shit!
So I'm gonna have my cousin. So I'm very excited of that happening.
Hi, cousin.
Mhm. So I'm very excited for that happening. And we went to Rancho 181 Friday and Saturday. Friday, of course, for Cinco de Mayo. So
How was it?
it was okay. They don't have alcohol, so there's no tequila.
Oh boo!
There was no tequila because they don't have liquor. I mean, alcohol. They don't have liquor. They have beer, but they don't have mixed drinks.
They don't have
They didn't have
liqueur.
I understood
Liqueur.
that part. So they didn't have tequila on Cinco de Mayo?
No,
They shouldn't have celebrated.
I know. I was like, why didn't
It
you
should
just
have
like?
been an exempt day.
I was like, why didn't you have like a vendor come and like give out samples? I'm pretty sure they have
That's
licenses.
Crazy. I never.
Mm-hmm. And then we went back again because they had the Canelo fight, and my cousin worked her magic, so we got the VIP reserved all taken seats.
Mhm.
They were like, "Oh yeah, there's no seats," and within like 30 minutes, she's like, "Okay, we got a table now. We can consider
That's
your cousin."
cool.
Wow.
So-
Who's your cousin?
My cousin, she already left. She's not here.
Wow.
Look, coming
You
back.
see, she doesn't want you to be happy. He doesn't want you to be happy.
No, I want to go in the VIP place.
That's what I'm
Not
saying. He
hitting
doesn't
on
want
your
you to be
cousin.
happy.
And then, And then we're here. Well, I had a
And then
terrible
we're here.
breakfast, and then I'm
We're
here.
queer.
Yes,
Terrible breakfast.
yes, terrible breakfast.
That was fantastic.
No, don't even say where it was from.
Las Palmas.
That's what I get for cheating. That's what I get for cheating on Eddie's Taco House.
Exactly.
There you
Thank
go.
you. There
Fuck
you
around
go.
and find out.
Oh, he found out.
You're a 90-degree angle, sir. All day.
Well, yeah, like you said, this episode is pretty special. It's near and dear, at least for me anyway. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, May, the whole month, and we brought on Mr. Mark because is a mental health advocate as well as a comedian too. So I just want to. Why don't you introduce yourself and let people know a little bit about yourself and how you got into being a mental health advocate and a comedian as well.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I go by the name of the Wolf of SA. It stuck with me because growing up, it was all about my family and my culture. If you weren't making money, you were a lowlife.
That's
And
true.
so when the movie came out, it kind of reminded me of what I needed to do, what I needed to be, which was a hustle, hustle, hustle. It's always need to keep going and going and going. And so it just stuck with me. And so I stuck with the name. When it comes to mental health, it's a big deal with me, even though I'm a comedian and I joke a lot. I guess my comedy could be compared to the roast master. You know what I'm talking about?
Don Rickles.
No.
Jeffrey Ross.
Jeffrey
Yes.
Ross, yes. Jeffrey Ross, those kind of people, those comedians, that's the kind of direction my comedy goes towards. But the reason being is because I use my comedy as a healing tool for myself. If anybody knows what it's like to suffer through mental health, it's a dark place, and sometimes you just need to pull yourself out of there and find what makes you happy. And what made me happy was comedy. Even though a lot of people disagree with my comedy and they say, "Oh, you can't say that,"
It's not politically correct.
that's controversial. But the reason being is because it helps me cope with it. I grew up. My mom had me when she was in high school, and so basically when I was being raised, It was a mixture of my grandparents, my aunts, and my uncles. And so, like, I truly didn't have a direct guidance of who I should look up to.
Mhm.
And so, basically, that's what led me to have a personality disorder. You know, I suffer from
Okay.
severe depression, anxiety, but the main thing I suffer from is a personality disorder. And sometimes that's why I could be one person one day and then the other, it's a different person. It's because,
Right.
you know, it's an imbalance of not knowing who I was or who I am, you know?
Yeah.
But fast forward later on in my life, I decided to start looking into it and start learning about it, especially the fact that there's been some hard times where I could admit that I have tried to take my own life before,
Mhm.
but that was a real motivating factor for me to look into it and try to find out what is wrong with me. Because at the end of the day, I feel that if we could talk to our culture, if we could change the culture, if we could get more of an understanding of what we fear what we don't understand.
Right.
But if we could get an understanding of that, if we could break it down for those who don't believe in it, whenever we tell our culture, you know, oh, I suffer from anxiety.
What the fuck
I
is
think
that?
the stigma
What is
growing
that?
up was like, that's local.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
talked about it earlier. Like, I know I am, and I'm glad you see that. But how do you help me? Don't laugh at me. Help me understand it. Don't make it seem like it's beneath you. Let's both learn from it. Where it's you just laugh it up like, go outside and play with your brothers.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't want to go outside. I want to talk about this. And I want to talk about it now. Now more so, I think the problem with the family unit, back then you had a mom and a dad and a grandma. Dad typically worked. The mom was at home. The grandma would help around. Now both parents work, or they're not together. So if you're coming from a single household, I think it maximizes the percentage that everything's against you. You have no one to talk to, and then you start talking to yourself. And I do that a lot. I drive a lot, and I talk to myself. People say, "Why do you do that?" I'm
Mhm.
like, I stop when I start answering myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think out my thoughts and I talk about, but when I start answering, then I'm like, "Oh shit, I gotta stop." Trying to take a pee break
That's
because
just
I'm
wrong
gonna
with
have
me,
a
yeah.
whole conversation. I'll probably end up in Hawaii. But as far as what we're discussing right now, and it's a great um, informational knowledge that you're going to bring to the table and help a lot of our people that are watching this and people that share it, or they might know a family member or a friend or a relative where they're going through that, and now they're more open to helping them out. Whereas opposed to be like, oh no.
Mhm.
Hey, let me tell you how my week went instead of hearing them out. And a lot of times, hearing someone out goes a big way. You don't necessarily have to help someone financially.
Right.
Just lending an ear, talking them
Mhm.
out, letting it come
Mhm.
out is so much more better than anything else.
Yeah.
Or just shoot them away.
Yeah.
I feel that's the perfect description because honestly, you know, you're looking right now, if you're watching the live stream, you're wondering, who's this typical looking Mexican that looks like 90% of every healthy Mexican here in San Antonio? And why should we care? I mean, you don't. But I think the big thing is that I want to be able to be that kind of person who say, you know, I've been through it. I know what it's like. And I want to be able to
Yeah.
give the knowledge that I have and the experience to tell you. It takes one to know one. I know you've heard that phrase before. And so that's what I feel that the reasoning why I'm here. And I want to be able to give, you know, my story and try to maybe hopefully influence somebody out there to be like, you know what? I
Mhm.
think I want to try to get help.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like, at least for us here as Mexicans, I feel like it's more, which I know the issue is not that, because if that was the case, then people from Mexico would be more like advocate to this. But I think it's more also the fact, like, you know, when they come over, they don't speak the language. So like reaching out for help is something you don't want because, oh, I don't speak English, so they don't want to help me. So then that just transitions down to then the next kid to the point where, oh, my mom and dad never asked for help and they were fine, so I don't need it. And then I think that's where it stands, because it was like if it really was something like as Mexicans that we would talk about, obviously people in Mexico would be reaching out, and then like their relatives back home would be like, oh, well, you need to get checked. So the fact that that's not happening, obviously the language barrier isn't an issue, but that's just another factor that like limits it for the people here in America to want to do it because, oh, well, my parents never did it and they turned out fine. My dad drinks all the time, but yeah, he turned out fine. Like there's nothing wrong. And I think,
Self-medication.
and I think that's where the problem lies, is that on both
Yeah.
sides of the border, nobody really looks into it.
I think
regardless.
it's more so cultural upbringing. Because, hey, you're a man. You're a manly man. Men don't cry. Men don't talk about their feelings. Men drink, smoke,
Mhm.
do men shit. you know, and you're like, no, but I have feelings. No. And then it goes to another conversation. Oh, you're one of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're like your primo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I'm not. And if I was, it wouldn't matter. But you're not helping the situation. You kind of you're making it worse, and you know that creates a stigma where it's like I just give up talking about it because I don't want to be laughed at already. And then you compound that with something else. It's like, dude. You know,
Yeah.
so I think a lot of times people just shut down because it's like it doesn't go anywhere. I just rather be alone and deal with
Yeah.
it my way. You know, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't deal with it the right way, and you know, ultimately they do something worse or hurt themselves. And it's difficult. It's a very touchy subject. It's a good subject that we're discussing, and I think overall, it's going to help everyone involved in this conversation and having this topic and bring it to light.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that it's helping us right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I wanted to ask you, what was, I don't know, what was the point for you that you were like, okay, this shit that I'm going through is not normal. Like what was the point for you where you were like, okay, I need help because all this that I'm thinking, all this that I'm feeling is not normal. It's not a normal behavior.
I think the first time was when I was in high school. I remember feeling like I was about to have a heart attack in class, and you know I walked out, and I went home, and I told my mom about it, and she scheduled an appointment for the doctor. But the thing is that when we're at the doctor, it was more or less she was skeptical about everything the doctor said. So the doctor would be like, "You really need. It would be best for you to be put on medication because it seems like you have severe anxiety." But no, I mean, it was to the point where my mom got upset with the doctor and started arguing with her, you know? And I, I think that from that point on, I just had to bury it and not think about it, not talk about it. And so growing up with no guidance, you know, nobody to look up to, you know, I'd just be there hanging out with my hood rat friends and doing hood rat shit.
It's the best.
So I grew up with no guidance, and so
Yeah.
of course, you know, I got in trouble. You know, I did hood rat things, and but later on in life, in my mid-20s, I noticed that I started losing interest in a lot of things. I used to be a local artist here. I used to do hip hop.
Okay.
I used to go by the name of Mark M, and I was doing great in my opinion. I mean, I did a big show one time at the Freeman Coliseum, and I remember I was nervous as hell.
Wow.
I told myself right now too. I was like, when I was on my way over here, I was like, I can't believe I feel the same kind of nervous that I was when I was there in front of all those
Yeah.
people when I'm
Yeah.
coming on this show talking about this. But the thing is that I started noticing a decline in my interest in it, and so it was more or less self-sabotage.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
then it would fluctuate. It would fluctuate, and I would get interest in something else, and I'd be really good at it. But then one day, out of nowhere, like a switch, self-sabotage happens, and I give up on it.
Yeah.
And so a main factor as well is trying to attempt suicide. And I know that, you know, a lot of people don't like to talk about it because, you know, who wants to talk about death? Who wants to talk
Right.
about somebody wanting to take their own life and leave this earth,
Yeah.
you know? But I think we do need to talk about it. And the thing is that I'm not ashamed about it. You know, I got scars. I got a scar on my
Yeah.
wrist, you know, and I feel that after making these attempts, a second attempt I made really made me realize, hey, this is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
I overdosed, and I remember they had to pump my stomach out, and I swear to God, it was the worst experience.
Whoa.
Just the fact that they put a tube in me and then maybe throw up and pump out all the pills that I had took,
Oh.
and but the worst part I can remember as a guy,
Yeah.
I hate catheters so much. that made me feel like, you know what? No amount
Like, I don't
of
wanna go
pain
through
or
this.
suffering would next time would make me want to kill myself because
Yeah.
that in itself
Yeah.
made me want to not be alive. And so after those attempts, I started wanting to get help.
Yeah.
It felt like I need to get help. This isn't working.
Mhm.
I'm not able to kill myself. So let me go ahead and try to figure out what's wrong. And so little by little, I started trying to save up because I didn't have insurance at the time.
Mhm.
And so what I would do is go to the University Med Clinic, which is just like a clinic you could walk into.
Uh-huh.
And so that's how desperate I was.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have no support from my family or anybody else, but I went. And that's when I learned that, you know, they're diagnosing me with severe depression, severe
Mhm.
anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, they put me on medication. I was finally able to take medication, which was amazing to me because no, medication's for crazy people.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I took that medication, and guess what? It didn't work right away like you would want it to,
Right.
like how you would expect it to.
It's a trial and error thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But once they find the right combination, you notice a big change.
Yeah.
You notice the difference in yourself and your feelings, the vulnerability that our culture holds back. Our culture is afraid of vulnerability. That's why we can't talk about it. That's why we can't
It's
talk about
true,
suicide.
yeah.
The only time I ever had any reciprocation of love for my family was when I came back from the hospital after attempting to kill myself. And it wasn't even love. It was more or less like oh man, don't do that crazy stuff. You're all right. And
You're
everybody
good,
else.
shake it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Shake it off.
Échale ganas, mijo. Like, nah. But
Yeah.
that was a really big motivating factor for me to want to reach out and get help.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much why I got
Right.
into this, is
Yeah.
because when I look at others from my side of town, I grew up on the south side. I went to McCullum.
Mhm.
When I see others who I went to school with, and they're in bad positions, they're in bad situations. I've seen some of them on TV when they go their mugshot,
Mhm.
when they go to jail.
Yeah.
It saddens me when I see the homeless people. It saddens me because I know that a lot of it has to do with mental health,
Right.
and if we could only
Yes.
help them, we could help everybody. You know,
Yeah.
how people complain that oh, there's so much homelessness, there's so much
Mhm.
all this. Well, let's help them out instead of being like,
That's
oh, it's a
true.
burden on our city.
Judge them. Yeah. Right.
But
Well,
yeah.
I don't mean to interject, but I mean, coming from experience, and a lot of people don't know this, but I was homeless, at the age of 18. I was too proud to tell anybody that I was homeless. I'm kind of jaded by the whole thing. I kind of agree with you that they do need help. But in my opinion, speaking as a homeless person at one point in their life, it's a big decision you have to make. Because I knew I was worth more. I know that me as a person could bring so much more to different people at different times of my life. And I knew that I was like, this is not what I was born to do. I wasn't born to become homeless.
Mhm.
So you can decide if you want to do that, because there's a lot of programs and advocacy for that aspect,
Yeah.
but it's a choice.
Yeah.
Because when you can get cash tax free, you don't have to pay shit. You can eat and drink when you want. You can take a bath when you want, move freely to wherever you want. You're going to like that. You get lazy. You accept it. I didn't accept it. I did what I had to do. I got out. I was too proud. I never stole. I never did anything. But I'd always ask a friend, hey, can I shower at your house? I play basketball in the morning. I'm real sweaty. Oh, yeah, come on. Never once did they bat an eye or like, I've had conversations with them now that I'm older, and they're like, dude, why didn't you say anything? I'm like, I was too proud. But there is a fine line that someone walks when they say you have to walk a mile in someone's shoes. Understand? I get that. I
Yeah.
really get, like, I don't know what I was going to eat. I don't know where I was going to sleep. Underneath the bridge, underneath 35, at the hospital waiting room in Southwest General, at the baseball stadium, somewhere that was lit that I knew I could wake up the next morning and be okay. But I knew that I was made for more.
Mhm.
So as far as people kind of poo-pooing the idea that homeless people, it's a mental illness, a lot of times, and I have a real dear friend from middle school that he lives in Los Angeles. He's been homeless for Lord knows how long. His mom was his only provider. His mom passed away. She stayed in the house, I think 4 or 5 months, dead. She was
Wow.
decomposing. He didn't know any better. He didn't want her going anywhere.
Yeah.
But he didn't understand that. So he became schizophrenic.
Mm.
Then they kicked him out of the property. They put him in the mental health hospital, got out. Then they out for I don't know how the hell he did it, but he ended up in LA because he was a Lakers fan. He went to LA. So he's been homeless for Lord knows how long. I don't even know if he's alive. But a lot of people are put in that position not by their choice. Something happens. Either they have a psychotic break, a mental breakdown,
Mhm.
a death in the family, or the provider. They don't have nobody else, and they're put in that predicament, and you're just like, let society take care of them.
Yeah.
That let whatever happen, happen. But I'm thankful enough that I was strong enough in myself, not so much to prove people wrong, but I kind of had it like, I'm worth more.
Mhm.
Like, I am worth more.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, this mental health is real. It's very real. I've had some episodes, and I'm not proud to say it, but I've been in some really bad spots lately. With my son and everything, and a lot of people ask me about him. I miss him, but I can't talk to him.
Hmm.
But I don't want to take off
No,
on what
no,
you were
no.
talking about. But it is a serious issue that I'm glad that we're talking about it.
Yeah.
But that's my take on the homelessness. I'm not saying that I hate homeless people. By far, I don't. I really don't.
That's what
I
I
hate
heard.
the one. I hate the. Well, yeah.
I
hate
heard
the,
Hector hates homeless people, and I quote.
Hector
Yes,
hates, yes,
please,
exactly
please
like
send me
that.
all the hate
Please.
mail. I like it.
He said for everybody to go to LA.
Yes, I like being the Scott Steiner of the show.
Leave.
But I don't like the people that take advantage of that situation
Yeah.
where they all prowling in a van, dressed as homeless people, and are just scot free.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's scum.
Yeah.
That's trash.
Yeah.
That's what people should look down on, not the actual people that need help.
Yeah.
I know it's probably a touchy subject, because I felt it when you were talking about your son, and I don't know, what's going on, but I feel like a big thing that I grew up not hearing was "I'm proud of you," and so like I just want to say that to you because like that's amazing of you to be able to be that vulnerable to say that, to be able to express it, and something that it's nobody's business, but you wanted to put it out there like that, and I just wanted to say that from man to man, and it's not
Mhm.
it's not enough with that macho shit. It's okay to tell another dude, "I'm proud of you." It's okay to tell another dude, "I love you." You know what I mean? Because when you're there at that point, when you feel like life isn't worth living, that's bad. That's really bad because you only get one. That's it. You know what I mean? And like if I could help somebody out there who's ever thought about suicide or they think about it, I just want you to know that I've been there, and you could get out of that. You could get out of that, and I promise that even though it's hard, I guarantee you that you're gonna be so proud of yourself in the end, and that's all you need is yourself to tell you that I'm proud of you. You know what I mean? And so like I just wanted to say that to you, Hector, because I felt that. I felt the pain, and I just wanted to be able to say that I'm proud of you because that's what we need is more vulnerability, more support, and that was just amazing. So I want to say to you.
Thank you.
So I have a question.
Cry.
Oh,
I have a question here. We'll break this up a
I was
little
gonna
bit.
say something real quick, but
Oh no, go ahead then, G.
so well, just before we quit, switch topic, I was gonna say, and the biggest thing is don't wait till it's too late. For me, which kind of still haunts me to this day a little bit, is that I had a friend back in high school which is ironic now because now I'm a Texans fan. But me and him always used to talk shit to each other and joke around because he was a Texans fan, so I always talk shit about him. But everybody kind of hated him in a sense. Like we were cool with him and they knew him, but everybody kind of hated him. So what happened was during winter break of our senior year, he got busted at the school making a bomb. And he was like, we were out for the day and he was testing it in the dumpster to see like if it would go off in time. So they caught him, and of course, that's like a terroristic threat. So like he was going to get charged. So the biggest thing was that he was a big ROTC guy. So he was ready to go into the army when he was done. So because he had that charge, he could no longer be part of the army. So that was that Friday. We find out by that Sunday that he took his life. But like looking back at it now, like a lot of us, like the whole school showed up obviously because it's our schoolmate. But like looking back at it now, all of us are like, well, like as me want to be the ones picking him, like did we push him too far? Like what could I have done to save it? Like yeah, I would hang out with him, but I wasn't like, oh, let's go be buddies. Like we just kind of messed around, and it's one of those like now that I think about it now too, and I kind of joke around with people like when somebody tells me like, oh man, like that kind of like the people who do come to me like, hey, like I kind of didn't like that you make that joke in front of everybody. Like I'm more self-conscious now because I always think like, what if that ends up being the point? And that's kind of like my thing because I was joking the day before, and I'm like, well, what if my joke was the one that took him to that point where he's like, I wanted to make that bomb. I was like, and then instead of being the friend being there for him because he didn't have a lot of friends, I was like, I was part of the problem when I could have been part of the solution. It's like, who knows what would have happened, but maybe if I would have. And so like to me, that always kind of carries me, and seeing like everybody who made fun of him like show up that day, like whenever the one or two times that I've gotten to that point where I'm like, well, why do I want to be here? I'm like, I remember that, and I'm like, do I want that to happen because I have those people? Like, it's not. I always see it. I know everybody has their opinions, but I always feel like that's a selfish choice because you took the easy way out, regardless of what you're dealing with. Because at the end of the day, you're leaving everybody else. At the end of the day, regardless, there's going to be at least one person that cared about you, and it's not fair to that one person that now they got to live with the same guilt. Like, oh, was I not nice enough to him? Like, what could I have done? I was like, especially the close family, like they're always going to have that what if, like, what could I have done? What did I not do? Did I, I told him he couldn't do this. Maybe if I would have told him he could do it, he would have been changed. So like for me, that's always like the biggest thing I always live with, and I'm always one of the big jokesters, but that's always like one of my things. So I always appreciate when someone does tell me like, hey, like I was a little too far, like I'm a little offended on it. I feel bad for it, but I'm like I understand, and I like try to avoid that for that reason. So that's my biggest like thing that's always like been with me since high school.
I just want to say this right here. This is the other part of getting help. It's talking about it. I know you could get medication, and once you get that medication, that's not just the end of it. It's just the beginning.
Yeah.
You also have to do therapy, and this right here in itself, you know what I mean? You could be the hardest fool out there. It's cool. You know what I mean? But there's nothing wrong with being able to be like, hey fool, this is what happened, and this is how I feel. And if that person's your real friend, they'll hear you out. They won't make fun of you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's all we need. I mean, I could honestly feel whenever, we talk about this, I feel the vibe change. I feel like this liftedness of this trauma that you suffered, you went through, and all you needed to do was, express it. And we're afraid to express it because we don't got nobody to talk about it to, because we're afraid, oh, well, I don't know if I could trust you that much to be able to cry in front of you.
Right. Or judge, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's your question, Jose?
So it's a common stereotype thing that comedians are typically the people that are most fucked up emotionally, mentally, because they have to laugh at themselves. Yeah. And then that's why I'm raising my hand back here too. It's always the people that are fucked up are the funny ones, because you can make fun of yourself. And obviously we all try to make people laugh as a living and all that. So I just wanted to know, how did you get into comedy specifically, or did comedy come first and then you were like, oh, fuck it, I'll be a therapist, psychologist, helper of mental health too? Or was it the opposite way around? This is really depressing being around all these sad people. How about we try to make people laugh a little bit? How did that all come about?
I think how that came about is I was interested in acting, but then when I noticed that I started, making videos online and on Instagram and on TikTok, and I started getting people to tell me, hey, you're actually funny. It made me feel like I had a purpose, and so I noticed that it helped me, and I noticed that I'm the type to laugh at jokes that other people would be like, oh,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like
Cringeworthy.
yes, cringeworthy. Like, look here, I'll give you an example, if I may. I know I might get canceled, but I'm used to that. I've already been canceled before.
Wait, if it's dark humor, we love dark humor.
It's
here,
dark
so
humor.
Okay,
So
good.
look, I was at Walmart and walking, and getting some stuff from the back, like the toilet paper. Let's just say that I have toilet paper with me. I just want to go to the front and check out and go home. Okay, but I'm walking past electronics, and then I see something that everybody's seen once or twice before whenever they're at Walmart. A big old DirecTV table, and it says the two representatives, or they're gonna ask you,
Yes.
sir,
What do you have?
what kind of provider do you have? I try to cut across.
Yeah.
I try to cut across, go to the kids' clothes, but no. Somehow, some way, I thought I was a wolf, but this guy came out of nowhere. He came out of left field. And he said, "Sir, can I ask you what kind of provider you have?" I wasn't having it that day. I was not having that day. I was so not having it that I didn't know that I was walking away. I told him, "It's all right. I'm on the spectrum." But anyways, the reason why I got into comedy,
That's funny.
the reason why I got into comedy and I find dark humor like that, funny, is because at the end of the day, it's just a joke. It's not, something that I'm trying to be hurtful towards anybody. It's just, this is the way that I cope. This is what makes me feel good about myself. I mean, I've been to the darkest place, the darkest depths, which is almost dying.
Do they have cookies?
I mean, no, they have cookies, but it's not Tiff's Treats.
Oh, okay.
Fucking great
Those
value brand and
It's a
shit.
Dollar General. Been sitting there for 8 months.
Your grandma's cookie jar that just has random fucking cookies in there next to the oatmeal raisins.
And then to make it worse, they don't accept EBT.
Oh, fuck.
But anyways, yes, that's the reason what got me into comedy is the fact that, you know what, obviously, you know, I'm here for a reason,
Mhm.
one way or another, because look, I'm here. I think back to myself, and I think, you know what, I could have been long forgotten by now if I would have, offed myself.
Mhm.
But, I'm glad I didn't, because, I made new friends. I've learned more about myself. I feel that I have changed so much more as a person, as a human being, with understanding what illness I have,
Right. Yeah.
with understanding that I need to understand my feelings first before I allow myself to make actions,
Right. Yes.
to say stuff or to do stuff.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think a big part of it is learning about yourself. And that's what made me lead into comedy, is because I felt like, you know what, if I could be able to reach out to people who look like me,
Mhm.
and influence them in some way, why not be this? If I could save somebody from the hood from going to jail and experiencing recidivism because they
Yeah.
have a mental illness,
Yeah.
that's a win in my book. That makes me feel like, you know what, it was worth being alive still,
Yeah.
And so, like, just an example, y'all know Leo Gonzalez.
Yes.
When I see him,
Yeah.
he
I
inspire.
love it.
I'm proud of that little dude, because when I see him, I look at myself and I'm like, wow, dude, I see somebody brown,
Yeah.
healthy,
Yeah.
and they're making it big, and that's amazing that people are responding to him. And so I feel like it takes one to know one, and I've been through these things, and I
Mhm.
feel that if you could relate to me, then maybe you could get something out of it. And at the end of the day, if I could help somebody at least stay here a little longer,
Yeah.
then that would make me really happy, because I'm still here.
Yeah.
I have one more for you. So, what I don't know if you, I guess, how many people you talk to, and being the youngest one in this room, I feel like it's obvious that the younger generations were really fucked up by COVID and been being alone and all the mental health stuff that comes with it. Like, I don't even, COVID's a fucking dream fog now for me, honestly. But like, I like, for me, I'm pretty sure, like, first year after college was COVID for me, and like now I'm just the most antisocial person in the world. Like, I don't
Facts.
talk to people. Like, it's just not my thing. I can only imagine what like a literal high schooler, like a senior in high school that loses their senior year, or the freshman in college, et cetera, et cetera. Is it, I don't know, in your opinions, I'm sure there's stats to back this up. Is it just getting worse? Because it just seems like, we're trying, we're having all these resources, but it seems like at the end of the day, just shit's so shitty that it's getting worse for a mental health standpoint around America, and specifically younger people.
I'm going to agree with you 100%. You're totally right. It is getting worse, especially for the younger generation.
Mhm.
But the reason why, it's just a theory.
Mhm.
All right, guys, don't take
Oh
me
my
serious.
goodness.
All right, they're trying
We're
to turn
gonna
the
quote
freaking
the
frogs
shit out of
gay.
you right now.
All right. But anyways, the reason, in my opinion, is because the people who are in charge of being able to handle that situation, I'm not saying all young doctors or all, young people. I feel that they're going through the same shit like you.
Yep.
And so, if you notice, I noticed that there's a decline in I guess the overall morale when it comes to this field of mental health. I feel like
Mhm.
the workers are just tired of it. They're like,
Yeah.
you know what, the resources are there. If this is what you need to do, but that's
Yeah.
it. But honestly, I'm already over trying to care about it.
Mhm.
And I don't blame you, because
That's
you've been through the
true,
pandemic.
Yeah.
Listen to the Logic song, and you'll be okay.
And I think that that plays a big part, because I've had a lot of doctors. That's another thing you're gonna go through. If you get help, you're gonna feel like you're gonna go through a lot of doctors,
That's true.
because you need to find one that you could trust.
Yeah.
I've been to doctors who tell me, they seem not interested. In the end, they tell me, you just need to seek some religion.
No.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
And I've had some doctors who just blatantly seem like they don't give a shit, or they
Yeah.
misdiagnose me, and that's dangerous,
Mhm.
because when you get misdiagnosed, they put you on medications that you're not supposed to take.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like schizophrenic medicine. One time they accidentally prescribed me that, and
What?
what sucks is that medication. If you take medication, you know
Yeah.
that it could either
Yeah.
you could gain weight, you could lose weight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It
Yes.
changes a lot of. You could
Yeah.
be horny, you could not be horny. You know what I mean?
I don't need meds for that.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I feel that.
but the thing is that I feel that this generation, I feel like if we had more motivation, if we had more influence on it, if we had more people, like I said, influencers
Yeah.
to focus on this stuff and to make it, I guess, quote, cool, then maybe, there could be some interest and it could be some, camaraderie to say, hey, you know what? This is pretty interesting. Let's go ahead
Yeah.
and fix ourselves because you know what? It's pretty fucked up right now. And we're just going to keep fucking it up unless we
Mhm.
fix it.
True.
I
Yeah,
think,
it's
I,
like-
I think
It's
a lot of
true,
it also,
yeah.
from my standpoint, again, my opinion, it's affected everyone. It's not a certain culture or certain people from a demographic, age-wise, or
Mhm.
socioeconomical, group.
Mhm.
It's everyone across the board.
Yeah.
So on top of everything already going to hell in a handbasket, you fucking had a pandemic,
Mhm.
and then on top of the pandemic, you had, they're just all the people in the medical field aren't getting any backup. They're actually cutting
Mhm.
resources,
Yeah.
so they're being overworked, overstressed, and they're just like you said, they just become immune to it. They're like, man, whatever, dude. Yeah, read the brochure, take the pills, get the fuck out. Next one,
Yeah, come
you know,
on.
yeah.
I can't.
So
I
it's
can't
like
wait.
you just kind of feel like it's like they're over it.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
everyone's
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't like about mental health awareness is when it's someone famous. Oh God,
Mhm.
the scriptures in the
Right.
post, and
Yeah.
I could have been there for you, Anthony Bourdain. No, you wouldn't have.
Right.
But it doesn't matter how rich you are or how poor you are. It
affects
it
everybody.
affects everyone
Yeah.
differently, but it affects everyone
Yeah.
and the people around you.
Hmm.
I've lost several friends, to that, and it's a bad place, dude. It is, but you find a way or a reason where you
Mhm.
can pull through, and that's the sad part. Is what about all those people that don't have a voice? What about all the people that kill themselves that aren't famous or
Yeah.
popular,
Yeah.
and they just go on the wayside? Like, oh well, good riddance.
Yeah.
Too bad for him. Next,
I get his car.
So then it's it's one of those things where it's like people go unnoticed,
Yeah.
and that's, I think, adds to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it gets kind of like, no, well, I don't want to talk about it. Well, I think we have to.
Mhm.
Like, we're past
Yeah.
that point.
At this point.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
among other things.
Yeah, and I'll say, just from personal experience, we're all sharing our traumas here. I'll join in on the fun.
Trauma dump Sunday.
Please.
Yeah. It's a great Sunday, you
I was
know.
gonna say real quick. It's kind of ironic that Bar 321 is having emo night the same day we're having mental health
No
podcast.
Yeah.
shit.
Well,
Hey, it goes hand in hand.
Listen to fucking
I hope you guys wore
go
your
to emo
eyeliner
night.
so it can start dripping a
I
little
didn't
bit.
wear my eyeliner. That's the whole reason why.
Okay, but back to Jose's trauma.
Sorry.
Okay, so
Yes.
yeah, so basically, like you guys said off the top, like how Hispanic parents are
Mhm.
automatically. They're just like, you fucking pussy, get over it. So I'm from Venezuela. I'm born in Venezuela. My parents are the exact same way. And I don't know. This is like me in high school. Hector, don't look over here. I don't want you to see me cry, Hector.
Don't look at him.
Don't look at me
Look
right
him in the
now.
eyes.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at me, little puppet.
Don't
Has
fucking look at me right
Don't
now.
look at me, big
Oh
puppet.
shit, he's being vulnerable. Don't look
I
at him.
have to not cry, Hector. I have to get through this without crying, so don't fucking look at me.
Don't look at me, big puppet.
Okay, so like I was saying, this was in like high school or whatever. I have to go get a physical, whatever. My dad's supposed to take me. I'm a fucking dumb donkey. I go on the bus. I missed the physical, whatever. I come home, fucking families in tears. Everyone's crying. I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? Fucking, we're not from here. So my uncle, I guess, he works for like Homeland Security and basically like just tricked my dad into signing his own deportation papers, essentially. So ICE came in and like grabbed him, picked him up, the whole thing, and I'm like, fuck, man. So it was like, I don't know, like 6 months, a year, where my dad was like outside of the country, and it's like, oh God, we have to figure out how do we get him in the country, and how do we, because obviously like it was just bullshit, and it was like a whole like a family thing, I guess. I don't fucking know. I don't know my uncle really because he's a dickhead, obviously, but but it was a whole thing. So it's like it was always one of those things where like I subconsciously I'll blame myself because like, oh, if I go to don't ride the bus and I just go to my physical, then he's not there, and then et cetera, et cetera. So it's always one of those things where it's like you have to get over your trauma or whatever, how you do it. But since that point, that's when I realized, like, I guess when my parents, started getting affected by this stuff, that's when I realized, like, maybe they're starting to come around a bit. Because in the last few years, my sister is the cornball of the family, obviously. She's the one that's very emotionally aware and, like, does all this stuff. So she had this basically like some like ritual on the beach in Miami where we drank this cacao and it is, to feel like you're part of the earth and all this stuff. And that's when I told my family, like, oh God, I just feel like guilty about all this stuff, and start sobbing and everything. And from then on, it's gotten a little better, I guess. It's like, they understand, like, oh, this is depression. This is what this is. My dad had a heart attack and all that stuff, and he lost his job. So he's like, now he got into the like depression mix, and he's like, okay, now I know what this feels like, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's getting better to a point where like maybe you're older, your elders or your families are starting to understand, but we still have work to do, obviously.
I just want to say that I apologize that you went through this, and that this guilt that you feel and this guilt that you hold on to, it's not your fault, and I understand this firsthand. There's been multiple times where I feel guilty about things that I should have done, things that could have been, would have been, but you know I feel that it's just going to make you stronger out of all this. I mean, look at you. You're strong enough to talk about it. You're strong enough to pull through it, even though you want to cry and be vulnerable. It's okay to cry and be vulnerable because it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely taken all of those years after high school to get there. But yeah, it's just one of those things, It's a fucking grinder. I'll tell you that.
How do you feel now after saying this?
I feel much worse, but eventually it'll get better.
It's anxiety.
It's absolutely anxiety. Like I'm an anxiety monster. I'll tell you, transparency. For some reason, the last 4 days I've been anxious. Well, actually, I know why I've been anxious, but I'm not telling you guys. I've been anxious. I just have not eaten. Like literally, like I'll have like one thing to eat in the last 4 days, and today, like I actually ate before the show, so I was like, all right, we're feeling a little better now, but like. Anxious monster over here. Literally have not eaten in 3-4 days, and it's just one of those things. So you figure it out as you go through it, and however you do it. And I went to a therapist or psychiatrist after, and then I was like, she just wanted to put me on all these drugs, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to go through the trial and error of finding your cocktail of what works for you
This
and
one
all
goes
your
in your
stuff.
mouth, and this one goes in
Exactly.
your butt.
Thank you. So
This one goes in your butt.
I just want you to look at me real quick. Can you look at me real quick? I just want to say
Look
this.
at him. Look at him.
You got this.
thank you.
Got the shit.
You got this. You're a
Bitch.
bad motherfucker. You know
Thank
that?
you.
You got this.
Also, a fun fact about me: I did a love languages test, and my very last thing was words of affirmation because I never believe anyone ever tells me. So I thank you.
I'll try.
Thank you. I appreciate it, but I don't believe it.
That's funny.
Hey, you
That's
guys
funny.
wanted the emotional
It's
trauma
true.
dump. I'll tell you the
Yeah,
secrets.
yeah. Come on.
All right,
tell you.
we are only an hour show, so
We're gonna definitely play
All right.
here.
I know.
well, let's line up the mood a little bit because we got like
Wait.
13 minutes left.
I haven't spoken my piece yet. Everybody else has. Okay.
Join the
And
trauma
so-
party.
Yes, of course. So it's funny that y'all talk about the pandemic because the pandemic, I want to say that it literally saved me because as I was mentioning earlier before the podcast, in 2020, I was diagnosed with ADHD and depression, and growing up in a Mexican culture where mental health is not a thing. When I told my parents and stuff, they were like, no, it's not that. You just need to have a relationship with God. It's not that. And I was like, I don't know how he's gonna fix the chemical imbalance of my fucking brain, but okay. And so, I started taking medication, and this is just very, very vulnerable for me to say, but I didn't know that ADHD really affects every part of my life, and it really affected my relationships, and in all honesty, and being very vulnerable right now, I feel like that was the biggest factor on why my marriage failed. And reflecting on it now, I'm more self-aware of how I am and how I act because I'm neurodivergent, so my brain just thinks of stuff differently. And I went to therapy, and I keep going to therapy, and I just want to really advocate to you guys that getting help really does help. It really did save my life because I have thought of unaliving myself so many times. And it's just part of the process, and it's okay to get help. And I'm a much better person from getting and receiving that help.
And I it's a bittersweet thing because maybe getting diagnosed earlier would have saved my relationships, but it is what it is. Shit happens, and I feel like I'm a much better person with being able to say, hey, like, I'm fucked up, I'm not okay, and I'm going to therapy, and I'm getting better, and I'm personally growing. So, I didn't want to cry, but
Too late.
here I am. I know. I don't think that's something that I've spoken about here on the podcast, but yeah, I mentally fucked up, and every day I'm just trying to be a better person every day.
You're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Proud of you. You're a bad motherfucker.
The BMF Sunday.
Yes. All right.
Exactly.
So cards games, huh?
Yes, card game.
Transition.
All right. So let's end this with some laughs here because it's also a comedian besides a therapist.
It's true.
So we're gonna play Instapiss. Jose, do you want to play this time?
Sure, I'll play.
Okay. So somebody hand him
Dang.
that stack over there. Okay. So
Yeah, one closest sector.
we play this game using Cards Against Humanity. So the white cards, for those who've never played Cards Against Humanity, the white cards are normally your answer cards when you play the regular game. For Insta the Pitch, we actually tell a story using these as your word that you have to include in your story. So everybody draws 2 cards. So where are we going to get
Oh,
your 2
no.
from? Because for those who have played Cards Against Humanity, you know how messed up this is. So that's where these cards work out great.
I love it. It makes me moist.
Our favorite word.
Oh no.
Are
Okay.
they sweaty nuts?
Sweaty nuts.
Okay. Do either one of you want to do the moral of the story this time since you didn't do it last time?
Let Jose, since he's gonna participate.
He's like, I gotta get up again. Right. Oh, okay. So the way it works is that we're gonna start with Jose and we'll go around. You'll be the last one. So you gotta just tell the story or continue the story when it gets to you, and you gotta use the your cards that you have as
Whatever
part
the
of the story.
cards say.
So because you're at the end, you'll use both of yours, but we're gonna just use one on ours.
Oh, okay.
And then we're gonna go back because you'll be the end, and then we'll cycle back. And then when we get back to Jose the last time, so Jose, you're only gonna use one the first time. This time.
Yes. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm ignorant. I'm sorry. So I start off with the white card,
Yeah. So your
Yeah.
story's you're gonna
Yeah.
use one white card first.
and then we'll pass it to you guys, and you'll
Yes.
come around back, and I'll use the white and the black one as the end
Yes.
one.
And
Not
then the-
white girl.
And then
white
our black
card.
the black
Cool.
card ends up being the moral of the whole story that
Cool.
we told.
All right, I'm ready.
So you have to wrap it up after that. All right, Jose.
All right. So I start the story with anything, or I start the story with
One of the white cards.
You can,
Okay,
you can
beautiful.
make the story as long as you want. You just have to include one of the white
Okay,
cards.
all right, beautiful. That's all you needed to say. So there was this, a Sunday afternoon. I'm hanging out, whatever. I'm feeling a little dangerous, as they say.
Uh-huh.
And I'm on the couch. Molly the dog looks at me and gives me a look, and I think she told me, I think you need to insert a mason jar in your anus.
Oh no.
Whoever wants to go.
Gee, thanks.
No problem.
So while you were planning to insert a mason jar in your culo,
Thank you.
you had second thoughts because you were facing poverty.
Fucking hate that.
Oh my gosh.
That's too real.
Yeah, I mean, we're all facing poverty, but I think the most people that face poverty is over 10,000 Guatemalan migrants.
That's too real again. Damn.
Yes. Crisis at the border.
And the reason why it got so difficult nowadays is because I saw yesterday on CNN that they were all getting transported to Auschwitz.
Canceling in
Getting
3,
transported
2.
to
All right, way to follow that one up.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
All right.
The name of the title of the show should be Almost Canceled.
Okay.
Like,
Done.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
But before they went to Auschwitz, this live studio audience all came and flocked to see my man meat.
Fair.
Nice.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
My man meat.
Got me.
So when they went to go see the man meet, they were mad because they thought they were coming to see the Big Bang.
I would be pissed about that too.
And the Big Bang was really him pulling out.
The Big Bang pulled out of
Yeah.
a much younger woman.
Oh, hey.
While also saying I love you. How interesting.
Hey,
how this works.
saying I love you to a younger woman? You sound like Clayton Perry, the drive-thru at Bill Miller's.
So what was the moral of the story?
Well, the moral of the story: do not go here. Found blank. I don't know what blank.
Oh, you
is
could have filled it.
I
You
don't know
could've
what
filled
blank
it.
is going to
You
be
filled
here
it
in my fettuccine alfredo. So I found semen in my fettuccine alfredo
There you
from
go.
this Big Bang, and I said I love you during it,
Oh, no.
while a mason jar was stuck in my ass because Molly told me so. Damn it!
That's
So
how we play.
creamy.
And that's how we play Insta.
That's how you play Instapitch. All right, we should do another round.
I was gonna say we normally do 2 rounds, but then we let you do the moral of the story.
It's true. All right, we'll let you do the moral of the story, Mark.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you're gonna grab another 2 white cards
Why you gotta be white?
because they're not brown. They didn't make a brown version.
Because they got their
Who
credit
wants to
score
start?
right. Okay.
Okay, so now we're gonna do the opposite. So you're gonna go first and do 1 of the white,
Okay.
and then
Once
Jose,
you
when we
get
get
to
to you,
Jose.
you're gonna do both.
Yeah,
I'm already ready.
you're gonna do both white cards. Okay.
Okay. So I'm only doing one, right?
Correct.
Yes, 1 for the first part.
In today's news, we're talking about women in yogurt commercials.
Okay.
So this has been an issue because JD Power and his associates have decided that it's illegal to walk around with yogurt.
What? So they said that walking around with yogurt gets you smallpox blankets.
Silence.
Wow, that's it. Silence.
Smallpox blankets and silence. That's what it gets you.
Fair enough. Well, I've noticed, unfortunately, this is affecting Black people more than everyone, as well as also.
really canceled. in
Yeah, well,
2022.
it's happening. They're also getting fiery poops too. I hate to see it. And those were my cards, actually. These are not
I
just
know.
random my thoughts.
Does he go twice?
Yeah,
That
was my twice.
That was
That wasn't
twice.
twice?
That was
God.
twice. Yeah.
I gotta follow that up.
Yeah, man.
A loser like you.
Sometimes,
Oh.
sometimes, again, Black
All right.
people get affected by this. I would hate to say it.
So what your cards were? Black people get affected by it, and what else?
All right, Black people. It was just Black people. It was
Okay.
Fiery
just
poops.
yeah, Black
And
people
they
and
get
fiery
fiery
poops.
poops. Okay. So on top of getting fiery poops, it is reported that they also get multiple stab wounds.
I want to see the number on your Black listeners after this show.
And they
It's
said
tumbling.
they have a couple of suspects of who they think it is. Donkey Kong's of course the first one, Mario the second one, but most importantly, your grandma is the third one. That they're looking out for out large.
So I say this one.
Yeah, you gotta finish the story with that, and then you'd be
The
the
moral.
moral
Oh,
of the
the
story.
moral of
is
the
the black
story.
Yes.
Okay. And so you said because of the
one. Your
His
grandma
grandma.
is one of the top 3 suspects.
one of the top streets. Okay. The grandmother was one of the top 3 suspects that was arrested. When questioned, how did you know that it was the grandmother? They said that she recently ate a goat and she queefed.
Fair, understandable.
Beef cheese.
I understand.
And
That's good
so-
cheese.
Hey, you just fill in the blank with whatever you want.
Yeah, coming up with the moral is hard.
After 4 platinum albums and 3 Grammys, it's time to get back to my roots, to what inspired me to make music in the first place. Hood Rat MILFs.
I know a couple.
We're always just trying to find our own.
Oh, at this point, it's a good rat gilfs because that grandma
Hood rat
she went
gilfs, too,
off.
as well.
Jesus.
Yo, there's some gilfs out there.
Please apply within.
You know how you count how many license plate you see, like if from out of state, you're like, oh,
Mm.
Yeah.
out of state. What if it's like next time it'd be like you see all the the old MILFs and GILFs and be like, tattoo lips. Oh, tattoo lips. Oh, tattoo lips.
Don't forget the star.
And the
Yes.
star.
Oh no. Why do these always make so much sense? Like it makes sense.
I think we just need to reshuffle them next time.
Yeah, this shit's fucking.
So when
It
you're
was
bored,
nice working with you guys.
so when you're bored at the house after playing Cards Against Humanity for like 7 hours, you can go ahead and do this with your friends and
It's true.
see which
yeah.
one of y'all gets stabbed. We're
Yeah.
not responsible.
We're talking about Auschwitz, black people, and goat smelling queefs. All right, cool.
Or equal opportunity here.
Yeah, it's true.
Equal opportunity.
We are equal
So,
opportunity.
Equal
EOC.
opportunity canceling at its best.
So I gotta go put on my platform shoes and get the eyeliner put in for my eyes to be at bar 321. But thank you for being on the show with us.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we
And,
appreciate you coming
If
out.
anybody wants to collab with me or work with me or want me to go do a funny commercial or just want to talk mental health, you can reach out to me on all my platforms. You can just look me up, TikTok, YouTube at Wolf of SA. And I also wanted to say that I'm in the works and process of making a podcast series about mental health,
Ooh,
where
yes.
every episode it's going to be a different mental health diagnosis, and then
Me.
from there,
Me.
you're gonna
I'm
learn
fucked up.
more about it, and I'm gonna be able to break it down so it could be easy to understand instead of listening or reading up and not understanding what the fuck is this mean, manic, So I'm gonna break it down. So be on the lookout for that. But I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me, and I think we all need to hug after this.
Yes.
It's true, yes. We
For
need to
sure,
hug it
most
out.
definitely.
Yes.
And tune in next week on our Mother's Day episode, as we'll have soda pop.
Shit. Oh, yeah.
Are we really did this before Mother's Day? No one had any mommy issues want to get out there now?
Yeah, I have mommy issues, but you know what I mean.
Same
My-
here.
My mom
Same
didn't.
here.
My mom didn't raise me, but you want to hear a funny story? When I was a kid, she left me with my grandma one time because she went to the club to go fuck Paul Rodriguez.
Ooh.
The comedian.
Okay.
Sure.
You know who that is?
Million and one.
Wow.
She
Cool.
came back and she had a picture and she had money. And I remember I was a little kid. I was just a little kid. One time we pulled up and we parked in the parking lot before the show, and I guess they met up with each other and shit. And I saw him, and I was like, "Is Paul Rodriguez my dad?"
Why didn't we open the show with that one?
Hector's like, this is the part where I tell you they're actually brothers.
I've even I've even reached out to him on Instagram, and he's read my shit and he's blocked me because I asked him, "Are you my dad?"
It's like, fuck.
Oh, shit. He's like,
Now
not
that-
this
now
dude
that
again.
shit.
Not this motherfucker.
You gotta try.
We're gonna use
Yeah.
this. You're gonna clip this for our
Sure.
clip post, and we're gonna tag him and see
Oh,
what
yeah,
happens.
for sure.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I don't know.
Dad.
I can already hear him.
Appa.
I don't know who this vato is. I already can hear him. I don't know who this vato is.
And Paul, if you want to come on the show and clear your name, we'll be more than happy to have you.
Paternity suit.
I'm ready to.
But Paul, I'll make you
Good.
proud, Dad. I'm funny like you.
I think we should, R.I.P. Jerry, but it might be time. We need to resurrect his
Damn it.
corpse and bring him back in here.
There you go.
Wow.
Yes.
Jerry,
That's funny.
Jerry, Jerry.
No, because we'll stay local. We'll bring Maury 210.
Oh, yeah.
We'll bring him in.
You know what I want to do? I want to do
Oh,
heartbeats and
damn.
dedications.
You should.
Oh.
Fucking do
I want
it.
to send a
Fucking
heartbeat
do
out.
it.
Okay, so I know we keep talking about it, and I promise we're gonna make it happen. But when we have Jose's bachelor show, he's gonna go ahead and give them all a mental screening before to
Yes.
make sure that they're good for you, Jose.
No, you should give them my mental screening and let them know you're fucking dealing with some fucked
Oh,
up shit
it's
here,
true,
my guy.
yeah.
You'll probably get like tens of thousands of applicants. You're good.
Oh, that'd be
Okay, so one last thing before we wrap up the show, Hector, what's it gonna take for us to let Soda Pop give you a chop on air?
I'll take a chop.
Ric
Who's
Flair
Soda
chop.
Pop?
The wrestler?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Give it to Jose. He's
I'll
younger
take
than
it.
me. I'm
Okay.
an old ass
Double
dude.
it and give it to Jose.
You sure about that? I'll take it. I don't know who this person is. I don't know how
He
large
was-
they are.
He was
but-
on here. He was on here a while
He's
back.
big as you.
Remember the guy that said that he wears the Michael Jackson jacket and he's influenced by Prince and stuff? And I'm like,
I do not. I remember us having wrestlers, but I will absolutely take a chop for sure.
yeah, not the bear guy and the
Okay,
other dude,
good.
but yeah, it was the guy by
Yeah,
himself.
I just want
You already
Gunther or
know.
whatever to make my
You
chest
already know.
red.
All right, and I say, after we do this, we'll go verify. But I think we should go do it at Bar 321 in front of
Ooh,
everybody.
yeah.
One last shout out. I have to say it. I have to say it because it's a big influence on me. Rest in peace to Russell Rush. I miss you, my brher.
Okay.
Aw.
And
Good dude,
with
good
that
dude.
being said, I'm G
I'm Donna.
And I'm Hector.
for 210 Culture, bringing the best of 210 Nation.
Nation.